Hey guys, I wanted to talk about a few humbling experiences that I've had. These were dreams that I've had for the last, I'd say, over the span of the last 2 years. Um, and one of them was, okay, around like probably 10 years ago, I used to be big into telekinesis and psychokinesis, which is like trying to move stuff with your mind and, stuff like it sounds funny to me now, but yeah, I used to sit down and just like stare at stuff and try to make it move with my mind. And I definitely don't do that anymore. And really, I mean, I kind of stopped like after I tried it. But anyways, I had a dream probably I'd say 2 years ago about people that try to have powers or people that try to manipulate objects with their brain and stuff like that. And pretty much in the dream, it was like I was staring at a door and I kept trying to make the door open or close with my mind. And I kept trying, and then eventually the door started creaking closed or, creaking open. And I kept running around throughout my house and trying to, move stuff with my mind or whatever, and it kept happening. And then it showed a progression in the dream to where I would keep trying to open and close doors and stuff like that, but then they would just start, instead of just closing, they would just start slamming shut. And it kept being more violent to the point of like I would look at the door and it would slam shut so hard that stuff would fall off the walls and all that. And in the dream, it like scared me. And then I saw that it was actually a spirit, like a demonic presence that was actually doing it. Like the I saw the whole dream, it replayed over again, and it showed from the beginning, whenever I initially wanted the door to close slowly or open or whatever, it showed the spirit was there, closing the door slowly, and it was just smiling the whole time, and just with this creepy like smile. And then as it got more progressive it got more violent. And then after that, it was to the point of I couldn't control it anymore. And I just remember this thing like chasing me down the hallway, and then I woke up. But that definitely shows me, or showed me that, people that think they have powers, people that think they can do all of this stuff, even though you may get actual results out of it, because, some of that stuff is real to a degree, and I mean you can get results from it. It showed me the power that was behind it, and it was not good. It wasn't God centered, and yeah. So needless to say, I'll stay away from that forever. So thank God for that experience. The second one was I talk loosely a lot to friends and stuff like that about end time events and stuff like. For instance, I had a couple dreams of like an asteroid falling and, causing all kinds of chaos and stuff. But I would talk really loosely about it, and I would just, sort of casually. And, it's definitely nothing to be just casually, like, yeah, an asteroid's going to hit and then, whatever. So I remember the exact day that we were all talking about that. I had a dream that night after I was talking about that. And it was my wife and I, after, it was like a couple days after the asteroid had hit, and there was smoke and ash, and it was just dark. I couldn't tell if it was nighttime or daytime. And it was my wife and I, and we were running through this town looking for food. And every time we would run up to a building, it would be on fire, or there was rioters, and they would, break everything and burn everything. And we finally went into this gas station, and I remember there was a box of cereal, and they were selling the box of cereal for $32. And as soon as we were about to buy it, somebody threw in a bottle with fire in it or whatever, and just everything blew up, and then I woke up. So it really showed me the gravity of, it's easy to just say and to just read in Revelations, it talks about like a burning mountain that hits the ground and stuff. Or it's easy to read that and not attach, to not, personalize, or to add the human factor of, at least it was for me until I had this dream. And now I'm just like, a little more guarded and reserved about, the gravity of all of that. The third experience I had not too long ago, actually, I've been having dreams about like aliens coming and stuff along the lines of that nature. And I've been talking to a friend of mine, and that day I was telling him that when the aliens get here, like we were gonna fight them, I guess with physical strength. And we were kind of joking about it. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Independence Day, but that used to be one of my favorite movies. Whenever the UFO crashes and Will Smith walks up to the alien and punches it in the face, like that's what I was talking about that day. I was like, that's going to be me. I'm just going to punch it in the face. So that very night, I had a dream, and it was me and an old friend of mine. And in this dream, like I was walking around the house and I was doing stuff that I used to do before I came to Christ. Like I don't cuss anymore or anything like that. So usually in dreams, when God wants to show me before I sought Him out, He'll show me walking around the dream like cussing or doing stuff like that. So I was walking around just being old me, and me and my friend walked into one room, and we were about to walk into the other room and had our hand on the doorknob to turn the door. And as soon as I opened the door, another friend of mine was on the other side of the door, and he was like, "Man, where were you guys? Like, we've been looking for y'all everywhere. Like, we called the cops and everything. We couldn't find y'all." And we were like, "What are you talking about? Like, we were just in that other room." And he was like, "Y'all have been gone for like 3 hours." And I remember looking down at my watch, and it was said like that it was like 12:30 at night or something. And then me and my friend that was in the room with me just looked at each other and were freaking out. We were like, "What happened to those 3 hours? Like, where were we? What's going on?" And we ended up, like, the events kept happening. We kept just losing time, and we didn't know what was going on. Eventually, we knew that we were being abducted, but we couldn't remember what they were doing to us. We couldn't stop them from doing anything to us. And I in the dream, like, I ended up losing my job because I kept being late for work, and I couldn't explain to people what was going on to me, because I would have lost my job anyways, if I started saying I was abducted by aliens or something. So I remember wanting to just go to sleep, and I was walking on this long hallway, and I guess my room was at the end of the hallway, and right before I got to the room, like, the door slammed shut, and I just fell down and started crying. I just had the feeling of these events were going to keep happening. You can't stop it. We're going to do whatever we want, and you have no power. And I literally woke myself up, like, crying. The feeling was so horrible. So now I'm definitely a little more reserved when I talk about, aliens and stuff like that, because, like I said, it's hard to associate the gravity with the actual, situations that we're talking about. But I definitely see it now, and that's part of my reasoning for putting this video out, is because I wouldn't want you guys to have to see any of that stuff if you don't have to. So and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was in Matthew 24 verse 23. Jesus says, "At that time, if anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Messiah,' or 'There he is,' do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect." I know that since Jesus, was resurrected and ascended, people have been saying that they're God or, whatever. And nowadays we're just so used to that idea that we all just laugh and, whatever. Haha, you're not God. This guy's crazy. So people don't really believe whenever a person says that they're God now or anything like that. So what gets me about this verse is he says that false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. And I don't know if enough people give this enough attention, because to my knowledge, that hasn't happened yet, where a person comes out and says they're God and does all kinds of crazy miracles, and wonders. So I think that's something that the church and us as people need to be more worry about. And I've had a dream about this exact scenario, which is posted on my channel. It's called, I think, Deception or something like that. But it's pretty much saying that, actually, okay, so, and then a couple verses after that, sorry, he reiterates it again. He says, "So if anyone tells you that he is out in the wilderness, do not go, or here he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it." So Jesus, we know, never just talked to talk. Everything had very, very much, importance. And if he thought this was important enough to say it twice, I don't think what he was warning about in its entirety was, watch out. Every now and then some random Ted's going to say, "I'm God," I think what he's warning about is perhaps, like the aliens. I know it's such a crazy thing to believe that aliens would show up and say that they're God, but when you look at abductees, they always say similar things like how, and most of it's like how the Bible is wrong, how we all got it twisted. Jesus was an alien, blah blah blah. We need to save the earth, and it's just crazy to me that these beings would have come 90 billion light years away just to tell us that the Bible is wrong. So that already should show you, there's some deception involved in that. But I think we should all be expecting, as Jesus said, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to actually be able to do crazy supernatural things. And they're going to try to deceive us, even the elect, to follow after this person. And they're going to say, go here or go there. And what the dream that I had about the deception thing was, what happens when you actually go? Like the exact scenario of what happens if, you follow them through that magic door of light or whatever, means they have of getting you to go with them. So I really, if you would please watch the deception dream, because it's way too long for me to talk about it on here, but it's very, very important. And that's pretty much it. God bless you guys, and thanks.